They uninvited me from Thanksgiving like I was nothing. What they didn't know was that I had just bought a $6.2 million estate with my own money. Before I continue, make sure you hit subscribe and share this story, because trust me, you won't believe how it ends. I'm Emily. For years, my family called me the failure, the one who never lived up to expectations. My sister Hannah, the golden child, got praised for everything. My brother Daniel, the so-called business genius, had the spotlight. And me? They never missed a chance to laugh at my dead-end job, never knowing I was quietly building something huge. This year, Thanksgiving was supposed to be my chance to finally sit with them as equals. But when the invites went out, mine never came. Mom told me, "Emily, you don't really fit in with the way we're doing things this year. It's going to be more elegant." The sting of those words cut deep. They wanted to celebrate without me, like I didn't matter. I almost cried that night, but instead, I poured a glass of wine in my new estate. Yes, the one they had no idea I owned. Marble floors, 10 bedrooms, glass walls overlooking the city. It was mine. And in that silence, I realized they thought they excluded me, but they had no clue what kind of power I was holding back. So I started making calls. Friends, neighbors, people who had always stood by me. By the next morning, 32 seats were reserved at my Thanksgiving table, inside the estate my family didn't even know existed. But the real twist? I made sure word would get back to them, without a single invitation. And that's when the real chaos began. The morning of Thanksgiving, I woke up early, my phone buzzing nonstop. Pictures of my estate had started leaking online, thanks to a friend who posted, "Emily's Thanksgiving setup looks like something out of a movie." Crystal chandeliers glowing above, gold-trimmed plates, a dining table that stretched across the hall like something royalty would eat at. My family hadn't even started cooking their turkey yet, and already, whispers about my dinner were spreading like wildfire. By noon, the calls started. Hannah's voice came first, sharp and dripping with fake sweetness. "Emily, I heard you're hosting something? At a new house? Where did you even get the money for that?" I smiled, letting her words hang in the air before replying, "Don't worry, Hannah. It's not a house. It's an estate." She choked on her silence. An hour later, Daniel texted me. "Funny joke. Whose place are you renting?" I didn't even bother replying. Instead, I sent him a single picture of me standing at the grand staircase, dressed in a black silk gown, my glass of champagne sparkling in hand. Seconds later, the typing bubbles appeared, then disappeared. He didn't know what to say. By the time guests started arriving, the energy was electric. 32 people filling my halls, laughter bouncing off marble walls, the smell of roasted turkey, honey-glazed ham, and fresh-baked pies filling the air. These weren't just guests. They were people who had believed in me when my own family didn't. But just as dinner was being served, my phone buzzed again. It was Mom. Her tone was cold, commanding. "Emily, what is going on? We heard about this estate dinner. Why didn't you invite us?" For a second, I let silence hang heavy between us. Then I said, "Because you uninvited me first." She gasped, whispering something about family tradition and appearances. But I could hear it in her voice. Panic. They thought they had humiliated me, but now they were the ones scrambling for answers. And just when I thought the night couldn't get any better, headlights swept across my driveway. My brother's SUV, my sister's car, my parents' sleek sedan. One by one, they started arriving at my Thanksgiving, uninvited. Exactly how they had treated me. What happened when they stepped through those doors? You won't believe the look on their faces. The moment the front doors opened, the entire room fell silent. My family walked in like they owned the place. Mom clutching her pearls, Dad's jaw tight, Hannah's eyes darting everywhere, and Daniel pretending he wasn't impressed, but failing miserably as his gaze swept over the chandeliers and marble floors. I stayed seated at the head of the table, my glass raised casually, as if I'd been expecting them all along. "Oh," I said with a half smile. "I didn't realize uninvited guests were welcome here." The irony didn't miss anyone. My friends and neighbors chuckled under their breath, the tension cutting sharp through the air. Hannah tried to recover first. Emily, this is unbelievable. How did you afford all this? Her voice cracked, a mix of envy and disbelief. She glanced at the gold-rimmed cutlery, the towering flower arrangements, and the staff moving gracefully around serving wine. I looked straight at her and said, "While you were busy laughing at me for having a dead-end job, I was quietly building my own company. Every late night, every sacrifice, every failure you mocked. It brought me here," Daniel scoffed, desperate to tear me down. "Come on, Emily, this has to be rented. There's no way you could afford a place like this." His words echoed in the hall, but before I could respond, one of my guests, a successful real estate broker, spoke up. "Actually, I was the one who closed this deal for Emily. 6.2 million. Paid in full. She owns every inch of this estate." The look on my parents' faces was priceless. Mom's lips trembled, Dad's eyes narrowed, and Hannah's smile dropped completely. They had spent years telling everyone I was the weak link, the failure, the embarrassment. And now, in front of 32 witnesses, their lies collapsed. But I wasn't done. I raised my glass again. Tonight, I'm thankful, not for the family that uninvited me, but for the people in this room who saw my worth when my own blood didn't. Applause erupted around the table, and my family just stood there, frozen, exposed, humiliated. And then Dad, red-faced, slammed his hand against the table. "Enough, we're still your family. Don't forget where you came from, Emily. You wouldn't be here without us." His voice shook the room. I leaned forward, my eyes locked on his. "Funny, because it feels like I got here in spite of you." That's when Mom's mask finally cracked, and she blurted out something that shocked everyone, even me. Mom's voice trembled, but her words came out like venom. "Do you really think you earned this all on your own, Emily? That company of yours, it only exists because of us." The entire table went quiet, forks and glasses frozen midair. My guests exchanged confused glances, and even Hannah and Daniel turned to her in shock. I stood slowly, my heart pounding. "What are you talking about?" She bit her lip, realizing she'd said too much, but then Dad jumped in, his pride too big to let silence win. "Your startup money? The inheritance check from Grandpa? We made sure you got more than the others. That's the only reason you had a chance. And don't you forget it!" The room buzzed, whispers rising from the guests. My jaw tightened. "More than the others? That's a lie. Grandpa left us all the same amount. He told me himself before he passed." Hannah's eyes widened. "Wait, what?" But Daniel's face turned pale, almost sickly. He muttered, "Dad, you said Emily barely got anything." And in that moment, it clicked. They had lied to everyone, twisted the story so I'd look like the poor, desperate sibling who could never keep up. Meanwhile, they had been secretly furious that my investments and hard work outgrew theirs. My hands clenched at my sides, but instead of breaking down, I smiled. "So let me get this straight. You gave me what was rightfully mine, tried to paint me as the failure. And yet," I gestured around the estate, "I still ended up here, while you're stuck in the same old cycle of jealousy and lies." The silence that followed was deafening. Then Hannah suddenly exploded. "This isn't fair. You don't deserve this, Emily. You're not smarter than us, you're not better, you just got lucky." My laughter rang out, sharp and cold. "Lucky? Hannah, I worked 16-hour days while you bragged at family dinners. I built my company brick by brick, while you lived off Dad's praise. This estate isn't luck. It's proof that I never needed your approval to succeed." The applause that broke out from my guests was thunderous, drowning out Hannah's furious glare. My family stood there, humiliated, cornered, their pride shattered. But just when I thought the night had reached its climax, Daniel stepped forward, smirking darkly. "You think this is over, Emily? You're not the only one with secrets. And when I tell yours, let's see how long this empire of yours lasts." The room gasped. My chest tightened. What secret was he talking about? Daniel's words sliced through the air like a blade. every eye in the room snapping toward me. My chest tightened, but I kept my face calm, steady, unshaken. "Go ahead," I said, folding my arms. "Tell them." He grinned, clearly enjoying the suspense. "You've all been clapping for Emily, cheering her on. But she isn't as perfect as she wants you to believe. She didn't build her empire all alone. She had help. And that help wasn't exactly clean." The crowd shifted uncomfortably. Hannah's smirk returned. Mom straightened with false pride, and Dad crossed his arms like Daniel had just saved them. My guests, however, looked more curious than judgmental. I tilted my head. "You mean my investors? The ones who believed in my vision when no one else did? Or maybe you're talking about the endless nights I spent coding, building, and pitching when the rest of you were busy drinking and gossiping." Daniel stuttered, caught off guard. No, I mean," I slammed my hand on the table, cutting him off. My voice was sharp, commanding. "Don't twist this, Daniel. The truth is, you tried to steal my business plan 3 years ago. You pitched it to your contacts, and you failed. You know why? Because you didn't have the discipline to make it real. And now you can't stand that I did." Gasps erupted across the table. Even Hannah turned to him in shock. "Wait, you tried to steal her idea?" Daniel's face burned red. He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. The silence was worse than any denial. He had exposed himself without me needing to lift a finger. I straightened, my voice calm but powerful. "The difference between us is simple. You wanted shortcuts. I wanted results. And while you tried tearing me down, I built something unshakable. This estate, this company, this life, it's not just mine. It's proof that no amount of betrayal or lies can stop someone who refuses to quit." The entire room rose to their feet, clapping louder than before, their support echoing against the high ceilings. My family, once so smug, so superior, now stood in shame, cornered by the very truth they'd spent years denying. I raised my glass one final time. So tonight I give thanks. Not for the family who uninvited me, but for the strength they forced me to find. Without their cruelty, I might never have discovered just how powerful I could become. The cheers were deafening. My friends toasted, laughter filled the estate again, and the night became a celebration of resilience, not bloodlines. As for my family, they left in silence, their pride shattered, their lies exposed, their power gone. And me? I stood at the head of the table, watching 32 people eat, drink, and laugh in the home I built, finally realizing the truth. I hadn't just hosted Thanksgiving. I had taken back everything they tried to steal from me, and this time, I wasn't giving it back.